Hello, I'm John Joe. Welcome to Line War. Today we have Valithor versus Plantblock, who I'm just gonna reveal like this. There we go, and now we can see everyone's commands. Plantblock is coming out from the forest towards this section of the map. I had it in ×2 because I thought it would take a little while to get into the engagements, but I was wrong. Also, how do you like the new graphics? It's not necessarily from Line War, but I have increased it to Ultra because I've got a new graphics card. Hopefully it will run perfectly fine in Ultra graphics. We'll have to find out. And I have also tried to have a look at the audio recordings, trying to see if I can mess around with the settings there. So let me know if you notice any improvements or if it's a load of rubbish. So thank you, and I will look at what I can improve over time. So there is a nice little choke point here, which Plantblock is going to be able to defend in quite easily, but may struggle to get out of. Valithor is over here. He's going for an airfield, which you'll be able to get over this choke point in different ways. He has a town ready here, an energy well in the water, which might be a benefit to him if the enemy does break through this choke point. A little extra defense for it, I suppose. It looks like Plantblock is taking full advantage of this choke point here a little bit for now. Just getting some vision. He probably would be better off with the artillery curving around here in the defense if he plans to defend. But it looks like he's adding up some pressure here. And Valithor's getting his helicopter on the field and he's going to get it straight out there as soon as it can. Plantblock doesn't have any airfields, literally going for factories and infantry only. Is expecting air because he's already got SAM being produced. And the helicopter moves in, his artillery are moving back. Over here though, Valithor is going for a bit of navy. He's going to get some territories in the ocean, which will help his economy in the long run. I don't think it's going to be very effective against Plantblock. A little bit of an engagement there. Not too much to worry about just yet, but Valithor is outnumbered. And is going to struggle against this push that's going on here. A helicopter's been brought in once again, which is going to be good, I suppose. I think he's called it off because of the SAM that are moving in. But yeah, Valithor's going to need a lot more helicopters in the area at this point. There isn't too much going on, but both players are still expanding backwards. Plantblock maybe needs to expand a little more with a few more infantry. Maybe dedicating a bit too many units to this attack here. And I want to have a look through this for a bit early on, because I don't usually do that. So from Valithor's perspective, he has a bit of a problem. He's only got quite a few infantry, but he has moved some into the forest here. I want to see if that's intentional. I move it back to this. My cursor goes sometimes when I come out of that. It might have just been accidental, but he has had them in the forest and might have intentionally knew that they'd take that path. But the infantry get a bonus in the forest, so he did that. Or whether he did or not, those infantry got a bonus when attacking, at least on the edge of the forest as the units came out. And do you want to see me use the Z camera mode more? Free camera? Valithor's digging in now. He knows this is going to be a bit of a push. He needs to protect this area. And his infantry are going to go straight for the kill here, I suppose. With these infantry, the artillery back in the map. But for some reason they're moving back a little. They're meant to go to this line. So let's have a look at the economy in this. So Plantblock is at nearly 400 per minute. Whereas Valithor is at 400 per minute, so there really isn't that much difference in the eco right now. Valithor has been trying to expand the eco with navy and on the ground, but hasn't had much chance to do so because of Plantblock's pressure here. The defense here is favouring Valithor there for a little bit, but the artillery here are outnumbering them about 2 to 1 as the reinforcements come in. Which is going to be a problem. This is a lot of units there and a lot of reinforcements coming in. But he does have the helicopter, but against the SAM unit, it's going to be pretty difficult to counter. He has actually stopped production on this. And he's switched into tanks. He's going to try and swing around the back, I think, go around the infantry and take out these artillery here. Might even be worth trying to take out the SAM units to give his helicopters free reign. Right, he's bringing his tank back. I think he's going to get some more tanks and then try and push through in a bit. He does have some units on both sides here, so he's got double the expansion force that Plantblock does, because he's only got, I was going to say 4 units, but there's actually only 3. There's 3 units for Valithor acquiring new lands for him. For Plantblock, whereas Valithor has about 8. He's demoing, that's what the beeping is, he's demoing the shipyard. He's got a couple of units out now. They're going to be able to, or he's got 1 unit out. They're going to be able to take over the territory for him, and that's going to give him back some eco when it comes to upkeep. The problem now is, unfortunately, Valithor doesn't have much to go on right now. He's only got a bit of artillery left over and a tank in the back there. A helicopter. They're setting up a defense behind this structure, which is Valithor allowing this structure to be taken away. Give him some extra time to set up these defenses. Plantblock is going to continue to push in that section. Don't know if he's got any more units expanding. I think at this point, if I was Plantblock, you'd want to have some more units expanding. Getting some stuff out there to try and increase your dominance over the map is going to probably be key here, but he's not doing it. He's focused on the push. He wants to keep the pressure up. But his eco for Valithor is at 500 and Plantblock is at 450. The difference in eco is expanding here. I'm talking louder because I'm not sure how loud the volume is coming through for you, but I can hear it quite loudly on my mic. Just a constant battle. Valithor's holding up a pretty strong defense. Even though Plantblock's attack's being successful, it's pretty slow with the artillery, and Valithor's holding off quite nicely. He's doing everything right as far as I can tell. He's sending his tanks in to try and take out and thin out these artillery units on the ground. Fortunately, these tanks won't survive, but they will slow down the opponent, giving Valithor the opportunity to potentially push back and defend for a little longer, giving Valithor a bit of breathing room. He's bringing that tank back. Hopefully it can repair in time for another attack. I think he's just trying to avoid the infantry, actually. He's going straight for these vehicle units. And it's going to get in some damage there, but I don't think it's going to kill anything, unfortunately. Now Valithor is stuck with this defensive line. No, he's just deciding to pull him back. He's going to retreat to this choke point area by the looks of things. And he sent his helicopter away as well. I've just spotted that. It's gone over this way. It must have been attacked at one point. Probably went for an attack and got shot at. That helicopter's moving away once again. He's trying to keep it in a safer location, but it is under heavy fire. It was already damaged before it got hit. Are they going to fire another one? No, I think that helicopter is going to stay alive for a short amount of time, unless Plantblock ignores it. I would apologise for my voice. I am a bit unwell. I am just getting over it, but luckily I wasn't too unwell. It was just my voice that was affected, really. But I couldn't record for a while. Valithor sneaking some tanks in around the back. He's getting these SAM units now. And the tanks can take out quite a lot of SAM units if they're unprotected. The Plantblock's bringing them back in under the protection of these artillery. And Valithor's going for his second location here with a base. And he switched into tanks pretty successfully. We're getting the tanks in, they're thinning out these artillery units. the plant block still seems to be producing SAM units. So the fact that he went into air first and stopped production of it, and then he did lose the airfield, plant block's investing a lot into SAM. So he's getting a lot of anti-air. But Valithor no longer has any air units apart from this one helicopter. So switching into tanks instead of air units against this Arty SAM blob is actually going to be quite good, because the SAM units are an over-investment in anti-air, so the enemy is making a mistake, even if it is necessarily something you should do. Meat shield going in first, the artillery is following up behind. The Arty blob is actually pretty successful so far. He's doing it properly and it's going in very slowly. He's taking his time, making sure he's doing it at the right times. And Valithor is constantly being pushed back, and now he's got 2 tanks that are going to be pulled back because he's got a few ready to build and he's just trying to group them up a bit better. Over on this side though, this barracks is producing commandos and they are spreading out across this section of the map. Tanks here are pretty much just protecting the area and going to come in to stop any reinforcements. After the group of 4 tanks over here come in and try and do as much damage to this artillery blob as they can. Let's have a look through the eyes of a free camera. So 1 tank's gone down. This town's about to go down, unfortunately. We've got 2 of the tanks heavily damaged, and these 2 tanks are coming back, and they're not doing too much damage at the minute. 1 is right next to the town there, trying to protect it. But he's bringing them back, and I've just noticed that Valithor's going for a SAM unit as well. I think he's expecting a switch from the opponent. Unless maybe he's already seen a switch, which I've missed. That town has gone down now. But no, he does have a navy though. And he could end up with some trade routes, which would be devastating for Valithor. Let's have a quick look at the eco though, as Plantblock has pushed a lot. So he's got 571. Valithor has 540, so at this point, Plantblock is pushing Valithor pretty hard. Valithor's been pushed all the way over to this section. Getting some buildings still set up. He's not giving in. Plantblock has pretty much been the reason Valithor's losing ground. He's not expanding as much, but he's stopping Valithor from expanding himself. Or taking over the lands that he's previously expanded on. The tanks come in. There are 2 artillery here against 2 tanks. The tanks are going to win this. And even if they don't, there are going to be more tanks coming in very soon. There we go. All artillery are gone now. So it's literally just the SAM units here. And this tank may go down to 8 SAM units attacking it at once. But the SAM units are really not effective against anything but air units. So even with just 3 tanks here, 4th one coming in, I'd probably be able to take it out. He's already lost that heavily damaged one, but this one's not damaged at all. It's a brand new tank. And that's a lot of wasted eco for Plantblock there. He's trying to bring him back, and he's got these units coming in one at a time. But he probably will set up lines. There we go. We've got some line formations there. And this is Valithor's chance to try and push back. They're thinned out and they're spread out across the map. We've got the infantry coming in this way to try and take over some territory. And the infantry will be able to take out that tank. Tanks are good against infantry, but when it comes to just one getting swarmed, the swarm will defeat it. There we go. You can see Plantblock's decided to sending some more units this way. And he does have more taken of territory, but there's still quite a lot of territory right next to his base he hasn't got set up yet. The tanks are now literally chasing down the artillery. So Valithor has now pretty much turned the table at this point. He's at least stopped the Arty blob that was coming towards him, and he now may have the advantage bringing in his own units and trying to make his own blob, I guess, or he could just continuously strike the enemy with harassment, as he has gone for commandos over here. Which Plantblock won't be able to see these commandos unless these units are in a bigger group and can spot through it. Just a stray infantry unit there. He will get taken out by these SAM units. Alright, now that Valithor's hit back slightly, has his eco changed much? Valithor's on 600 and Plantblock's on 660, so the eco is still pretty similar. Valithor is still losing ground a little, but he can probably catch up for a bit. Plantblock's been pushed all the way back over here because these tanks are running riot with any stray unit that you come across. And the infantry are trying to set up their formation again as the artillery form up behind them, and these tanks are heavily damaged, so it might be worth trying to wait a little bit, wait for them to repair, take over some territory as you do. Commandos over on this section though. The helicopter, the stray helicopter that survived from the very beginning is now going to come in and stop these units from expanding. Helicopter was here and flew here to get away from some SAM that was here. If he sent those SAM to take out that helicopter, these expanding forces might stand a better chance, but that helicopter's now in the area saying you should have killed me when you had the chance. Few commanders in the area. The commanders have high attack damage, but as you can see, that one commando was attacking without being attacked for a little while because they couldn't see him. Now, the helicopter's going to come in and take out some of these as well from the commandos. But he's got quite a few commandos still coming into the area. We do have a switch in from Plantblock. He's going for air units. And he is trying to set up these trade routes. He's got a structure there. And he could take over these areas, which is what I think he was hoping to do. But both players seem to be facing off once again. Plantblock sticking to the Arty blob in this area. And Plantblock is going to struggle with his air units because there is quite a few SAM for Valithor as well. He has predicted that, as I mentioned earlier. I thought it might have been a bit too early personally, but I was probably wrong. The Valithor is building up these SAM units, and I'd say they're just right for the amount, like with the timing. And the helicopter over here is taking out the last of the infantry. There we go. Plantblock has no more expanding forces apart from in this section here. These airfields are going to struggle right now. It looks like Plantblock is feeling a bit more confident. He's going to push once again against Valithor in the middle of the map. But Valithor has two groups of tanks now, and he's positioning them either side, and the artillery is being pushed back. This is great positioning. So the artillery are going to be able to try and take out these guys as they group up, and the tanks are going to push straight in against the artillery at the back. We may lose a lot of the units here, but they're going to get the best they can kill from this. Kind of reminds me of the strategy Hannibal used against, I don't remember who it was, very long time ago. But yeah, even the infantry were getting pushed back by the artillery over here. The tanks managed to destroy a ton of artillery that were left exposed. And the infantry that was drawn forward. Those commandos were coming in from over here. It's unfortunate because I don't think Valithor can see what's over here, but this airfield was fairly exposed. And if he was just exploring down here, he may have been able to catch that off guard, but now the helicopters are going to come in and stop that. There we go. The helicopters are going to take out those commandos pretty easily, but the commandos over here are taking over some extra territories for Valithor. As both players are facing off in the middle of the map again, we'll have a quick look at the eco. I do like to keep an eye on the eco sometimes when it comes to matches like this and it's going back and forth. So we have 769 from Plantblock and 760 from Valithor. So Valithor is turning the table again slowly. Plantblock may have a larger force in the front line here, but Valithor is conquering the lands much more successfully recently, so he's going to be able to try and switch the tide of the war in the later game. We've got some commandos sneaking in through the side here, trying to catch these infantry units off guard. I think he's going to pull them back though. Yep. As he does, these tanks are trying to sneak up through the top in front of this defensive line. And the tanks are trying to find any way in to try and get into the back. I think he's decided against it. He's going to pull back for a little bit. You got to remember as well, all of Plantblock's forces are coming straight through this area, apart from a couple of infantry groups that are trying to expand up this way. Most of the forces are here, coming straight in there. Whereas Valithor's got a group of units here coming in this way. His expanding force is being built from here going that way, and then his reinforcements are coming in from this section, so he's got a few extra little spots to come from, which makes it a little bit more difficult to manage. But it gives him the opportunity to do stuff like this. Got these commandos coming through this side. I don't know if he'll see it. I think these 3 STAM units will spot these units going across there. Plantblock is going to push forward. I think he sent these SAM units to block the path, but I'm not sure if that was just random. This group of tanks, there are a lot of tanks here. I'm just going to push through this section. Due to the fact there's quite a few tanks here, they're going to push through really fast. And the Arty Blob with the defense force here is just not going to be effective enough anymore. Those helicopters are probably going to be needed to come through this way now, just to try and stop these tanks. Quite a few tanks have gone down already, but there's less than half of the force here in the first place, and we still have Valithor's artillery force here, and there's more tanks and commandos coming in this section. They're being sandwiched at all times. The only way to go is to either progress into defense or retreat. And again, we're seeing a lot of SAM units here from Plantblock, which he hasn't seen many air units for a long time. I don't even know if that helicopter over here is still alive. Yes, it is, but it's about to get taken out by helicopters by the looks of it. He has spotted it. He's moving back, and we've got another force, another structure here, just going into SAM units to stop those helicopters. Now it looks like Valithor is going to push with a fairly equally sized force. For the majority of this map, Valithor has been defending this area with generally less forces than Plantblock. And Valithor is trying to increase their eco with some structures here. Oh, on this side though, we have just spotted some units coming in through there. A pretty good move by Plantblock, bringing some units from the ocean around this side. Like I said, he's probably trying to get this trade route going, so he needs to try and control this area. So he's bringing in some infantry. And he probably will take out 1 or maybe 2 of these structures with just that small group of infantry. But I'm sure there's something going on here through retaliation. Valithor's trying to push through this gap here, but there are too many units at this point to have that work. Over on this side, the SAM units are trying to repel the helicopters, but I don't think there's enough just yet. But I think Plantblock hasn't launched them yet because they're a bit distracted with the attack that's going on here and the defense they're having to put up here. Heard a blow up there. There we go. So yeah, these infantry took out 2 structures of Valithor's. And with the infantry coming, well, the ground forces coming in this way, it might be better to try and just send them this way to try and take out any structures there or take control of another location. But I think Plantblock is a bit distracted. Yeah, he's got his helicopters moving over here again. Main battle going on here. Valithor is turning around to his favour. He doesn't have as many SAMs built up as he did before. I think that's partly because he used them as a meat shield. They've got all of the units on these commands. But he does have a move command here for the SAM units. So you can use that to build them up again. Back over here, it looks like it's just pretty much the helicopters there that are having the advantage here. And again, we've got interceptors here because Valithor's been using this helicopter so effectively. It's one helicopter that he's had for the entire game. We've got 5 interceptors to counter it because he's been using it so effectively. I think the enemy thinks he's got an airfield up there. I strangely think this helicopter has been the key to Valithor's victory. Purely because of the threat the enemy saw it as. As well as the tanks. I mean, obviously the strategy and the battle that's going on here. Valithor's put up amazing defences this entire battle, but the fact that the enemy has invested so much money to kill that one helicopter. I think at this point there's been more money put in to kill that helicopter than there has been to fire a nuke. So we do have these ships here which should be scouting the area, and Valithor has seen the threat that happened earlier. He's going to try and repel that once again with the submarine. So that's going to be his counter to that happening again. The Valithor must be ecoing quite nicely because he's been getting around this area, and there's a lot of land over here as well which he's still capturing. Whereas Plantblock is now stuck in the corner and he's not able to really do much unless he pushes against Valithor. So Valithor's at 1,160 per minute. And Plantblock, yeah, he's been stuck at 900. And he's only got 1 energy well, whereas Valithor, I think, has 2. Yes. And there we go, we've got Valithor trying to trap in Plantblock in this location. If he can be held in this area, that will give Valithor a lot more control over the map. And a lot of confidence to start building up more eco structures maybe, or even just building up a force in this area. But it looks like Plantblock saw that he was defeated, he couldn't expand on the map anywhere, and decided to give in against Valithor. And strangely, Plantblock's Empire value was actually higher throughout the entire match, even at the beginning. Right here, all the way through. Plantblock had a higher Empire value, and still Valithor was able to somehow grab a victory there. He even named the replay how to counter Arty blobs. And I think, yeah, that's a pretty accurate description, so that's probably going to help me with the title of this video. Thank you, Valithor. Anyway, Thank you for watching. Feel free to click on any of the 2 videos on screen right now. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.